From homeless Negro to millionaire, how Donald Trump and Elon Musk inspire success. Ethan Mason had it all. The sharp suits, the penthouse at the top of a glass tower in Manhattan, cars that roared like beasts waiting to pounce, billions stacked in accounts no one could count. But there, behind the polished smile and cold eyes, was a crack, wide and deep, a hollow space inside that no amount of money could fill. On a crisp autumn afternoon, the city buzzed around him. Leaves swirled like burnt orange flames kicked up by the wind. The air smelled of roasting chestnuts and exhaust. Ethan walked fast, the click of his shoes sharp on the cracked sidewalk. Faces passed by, some hopeful, some desperate, but none looked at him. Then, out of the chaos, came Malik. He was nothing like Ethan's world. Dirty clothes hanging off his skinny frame, eyes dark and suspicious, flicking nervously from shadow to shadow. His hands were rough, scarred from battles with the unforgiving streets of New York, where every breath had been earned and every night survived. Malik was a fighter, the kind they warned you about but never helped. That's when Ethan saw his face. A flash. For a heartbeat, the city stopped. The noise dimmed. Malik's jaw clenched, his gaze locked with Ethan's. Something raw, something broken passed between them. A secret heavier than the skyscrapers above. Malik was more than just a scrappy kid. He was the son Ethan lost years ago, vanished as a boy, swallowed by tragedy and silence, believed dead. No one had ever told Malik who he really was. No clue about the life he came from. The luxury, the missed birthdays, the father who never looked back. Now, the impossible had happened. The street kid and the billionaire stood face to face, caught in a moment thick with shock and silent screams. Ethan's chest tightened. His throat burned with words that wouldn't come. Pain splattered across his heart like shattered glass. How had he failed? What nightmare had stolen his boy away, only to return him broken? And did Malik want him or hate him? Onlookers buzzed, their whispers like knives slicing through the chilly air. Phones pointed, cameras flashing. The news would explode in hours. The story promised scandal, regret, and redemption, tangled like barbed wire. But beneath the headlines lay darker truths. Secrets Ethan buried deep. Secrets that could unravel everything he built. Family lies twisting into shadows, waiting to drag them all down. Malik's lean frame stiffened. His eyes flickered with anger, doubt, a storm brewing inside. Could he trust the man who vanished? Could he accept a past he never knew? Before answers could claw free, footsteps echoed fast. A sudden visitor appeared. Someone from the shadows of their shared past. The unexpected face promised to change everything again. The fragile thread holding father and son together trembled, stretched tight. Would their bond snap? Or could this shattered family piece itself back together in the unforgiving city? What secrets would surface before they found out? And once the world watches, who will stand strong and who will break? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, What city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Ethan's heart raced, the weight of the moment pressing down. Just as he opened his mouth, ready to bridge the chasm of lost years, a familiar face emerged from the crowd. Jenna? The name slipped from his lips in disbelief. She stood there, a specter from their shared past, her fiery red hair framing a face lined with secrets and pain. This wasn't just a coincidence. Fate had tangled their lives once more. Malik's expression deepened with confusion, a storm brewing in his eyes. You know her? Ethan tried to find his voice, but the air thickened with unspoken memories. Jenna stepped closer, her gaze flickering between father and son, emotions swirling. Ethan, I didn't expect to see you here. Not now, Jenna. Ethan snapped, the words sharper than he intended. He couldn't afford distractions. There was too much at stake. But Jenna pressed on, her voice trembling. You need to listen. There's something you don't know about Malik. Every heartbeat echoed in Ethan's ears. The crowded street dimmed, faces blurred. Only Malik, Jenna, and the weight of her words remained. What do you mean? Malik isn't just your son, he's also mine. Shock shattered the moment, a loud crack in the silence. Malik staggered backward, his face morphing into a mask of horror. What? No! You're lying! Ethan felt the ground shift beneath him. That can't be true. His throat constricted with disbelief. Memories flooded in, nights spent searching, wondering where Jenna had gone. The lies had been endless, but this was a truth too raw to grasp. There's more, Jenna said, her voice quiet but resolute. You thought I left, but I had no choice. I had to protect him from the world you built, one that could destroy him. Malik's eyes darted between them, his fists clenched. So what? I'm just a pawn in your games? You both abandoned me! No! Ethan shouted, desperation lacing his words. We didn't know. If I had known... But Malik was already moving. He stumbled through the crowd, pushing past stunned onlookers, their expressions a mix of shock and curiosity. Cameras clicked and phones tracked his movements as though he were the last star in a dying galaxy. Malik! Ethan yelled, but his voice was lost, swallowed by the chaos around them. Ethan turned sharply towards Jenna. What did you do? Why didn't you tell me? You could have saved him. You should have. Jenna's face paled. I was scared. Of you, of what you'd become. What do you mean? His world narrowed to her frightened eyes. What did I ever do that was so terrible? Before she could answer, a piercing scream cut through the air. A momentary silence fell as everyone's gaze shifted toward the source. A figure lay sprawled on the ground, crumpled like discarded paper, blood pooling around him. Ethan's heart dropped. It wasn't Malik, but the horrified gasp that exploded from the crowd told him it might be someone he knew, someone who could unravel the fragile threads of their lives even more. Frantic whispers filled the space, a web of uncertainty. His stomach knotted. Things are going to change, Ethan, Jenna murmured, urgency filling her voice. You have to find Malik before it's too late, before he finds out. But the words hung unspoken, the truth buried beneath layers of pain and regret. With a scream of terror echoing in the background, Ethan felt everything slip through his fingers, leaving him with nothing but a desperate need to uncover the hidden pieces before it was all lost. The moment stretched. Breathing heavy in the frigid autumn air, Ethan and Malik stared at each other, hearts racing. The crowd around them buzzed like a live wire, anticipation thick and choking. Then a sudden shout pierced the tension. "Ethan, get down!" The voice came from nowhere. A figure lunged toward Ethan, arms outstretched, colliding with him, knocking him off balance. The world around them split open. A gunshot rang out, loud and harsh, cutting through the chaos like a knife. Malik's eyes widened, fear and confusion merging. He instinctively took a step back, but everything happened in a blur. Ethan crashed to the ground, the heat of spilled sweat mingling with the chilling gusts of autumn. The crowd screamed, a collective gasp echoing through the streets. Between the shouts, a second shot rang out. The sharp crack echoed again, the sound of chaos unleashed. Malik's instincts kicked in. Adrenaline propelled him forward as he dove toward Ethan, shielding him with his body. The energy felt electric, alive with primal fear. "Stay down!" Malik shouted, his voice raw. Ethan's heart raced, a drum pounding in his chest. He couldn't comprehend what had just happened. But the chaos had momentum now. People scattered, shouting, crying, lost in frenzied motion. The thick cloud of panic floated like smoke in the fallen leaves. And then something even more shocking unfolded. From the edge of the crowd, a woman pushed through. Panic twisted her face, long hair disheveled, eyes wild. "Malik, get away from him!" she cried, rushing closer. The recognition hit Malik like a punch. It was his mother, a figure from stories he barely remembered. The woman who vanished from his life, leaving only whispers behind. Her presence sent shockwaves coursing through him. "Mom!" He stumbled over the word, heart racing, fear twisting into hope. "Malik, run!" she yelled. "They're after us!" But before they could register her warning, chaos erupted again. A masked figure emerged from the shadows, brandishing a firearm, eyes darting like a predator tracking its prey. The crowd parted like a wave, panic swirling around them. Ethan's eyes darted. He saw the fear in Malik's face, the disbelief anchoring him. This was no ordinary moment. It was unraveling rapidly, dangerously. A part of him wished for the past, the world of boardrooms, parties, success. But that world felt hollow compared to this visceral moment of potential danger and raw connection. Malik's mother broke through the line of chaos, grabbing Malik by the wrist. The energy between them crackled, nostalgic yet foreign. There was more to their past than he realized, and it pulled on threads inside him, secrets buried deep. "Ethan!" she shouted, glancing back. "You don't understand. We're not safe." A third shot rang out, closer this time, reverberating in the marrow of his bones. Fear tightened its grip on his throat. Time slowed, the pulse of the city faded, leaving only his racing heart. "Who are you?" Ethan finally managed to ask, struggling to connect the dots. But before she could answer, the masked figure spoke, voice cold and bitter. "You thought you could escape this, Ethan?" Something about the way he said it sent icy dread coursing through Ethan's veins. It was a conspiratorial bitterness that gnawed at the edges of their history, unearthing wounds neither of them knew were there. The crowd thrummed with tension. Eyes darted, whispers swirled. This wasn't just about a father and son finding each other. This was about a past that refused to die. Secrets, danger, a connection forged in tragedy. As the masked figure raised the gun, a single thought pierced through the madness. How much more would unravel before they could piece it all back together? The weight of a generation's pain settled heavy on their shoulders, and the city held its breath, waiting. The masked figure's gun glinted coldly, ready to shatter the moment completely. Ethan could feel the pulse of fear in the air, heavy and electric. Malik's mother looked wild, panic etched across her face. "Stay down, both of you," she shouted, but the raw dread threatened to swallow them whole. Ethan's heart pounded. The street felt alive, throbbing with chaos. "Who are you?" he shouted again, his voice cracking. Answers slept through his fingers like sand. "Time for your past to catch up," the masked figure sneered, his finger twitching on the trigger. The crowd's gasp seemed to echo forever. A collective breath held tight, waiting for the explosion of violence. But then, everything shifted. A loud crash erupted from the right, the sound of metal meeting pavement. A black SUV barreled through the throng, tires screeching, and came to a sudden halt near the two men. Windows rolled down as armed figures poured out, their faces concealed, guns drawn, surrounding the masked assailant. Ethan's breath hitched in his throat. Confusion swept over him. Friend or foe? Panic twisted into a knot in his stomach. He glanced at Malik, whose wide eyes reflected the storm of emotions swirling within him. "Get down!" one of the armed figures yelled. A woman with fierce, determined eyes as she stepped forward. Without hesitation, she shot a glance at Malik's mother. "Get him out of here, now!" "Why should I follow you?" she challenged, protective instincts flaring, but fear tempered her voice. "That's not what it looks like." The urgency in their voice carried a weight thicker than the air. "He's in danger! They're after him!" The masked figure laughed, a twisted smirk of arrogance. "You think you can save him? You all act like he's some kind of hero, but he's just the key to everything." Malik appeared like a statue, frozen between the heated exchanges. "What do you mean?" he yelled, voice piercing through the madness. "What key?" The sudden explosion of tension shattered Ethan's mind. The hunt for meaning slipped deeper. Before he could respond, the masked figure lunged at the woman, but a bullet exploded into the ground beside him, forcing him to stagger backward. And then the truth hit like a tidal wave. The woman, strong and unwavering, was not just a bystander. "Malik!" "Hey!" he shouted, her voice scraping against the walls of Ethan's mind. "He's the last link." "Link to what?" Ethan demanded, eyes darting between the chaos and the faces surrounding him. "What are you talking about?" Before anyone could respond, the woman turned, pulling Malik into a fierce embrace, tears shimmering in her eyes. "I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to find out this way. You're not just the key. You were born to more than any of us could offer or protect." Malik's face twisted, anger mixing with confusion. "What does that even mean?" He shook her off, trembling. "What have you done?" But before she could reply, an explosive crack roared behind them. A blast of heat surged forward, lifting Malik off his feet and throwing him backward, crashing into Ethan and sending them both sprawling onto the pavement. Smoke billowed, the world transforming into a shroud of chaos and noise. People screamed, stumbling back, and a scream pierced Ethan's mind. It wasn't just chaos. This was something catastrophic. "Malik!" Ethan yelled, desperately trying to collect his thoughts in the haze. Yet, as he pulled Malik closer, panic rushed through him. The blow hit harder than a fear he couldn't name. Malik's eyes fluttered, confusion dancing across his features as he looked to his mother. "What is happening?" In the distance, sirens wailed, growing louder, a chorus of dread filling the air. Suspicion twisted like smoke between them. Everything they thought was clear morphed into shadows, hiding darker truths. "Just trust me," she whispered fiercely. "We have to go now." But chaos reigned, and as the truth twisted deeper, flickering just out of reach, Ethan's world teetered. This moment would be the pivot, the chasm that opened wider. He felt the ground shift beneath him, even as the true nature of their relationships hung in the air, tantalizingly unresolved. What more had they lost? What more would they fight for? As the sirens drew near, the question hung heavy. Was this new danger just the beginning? Ethan's heart raced, a relentless drum pounding in his ears as Malik stood before him. The moment felt charged, electrifying, and just as he thought words would spill out, she appeared. From the edge of the crowd, a woman emerged, slim and athletic, with a cool confidence that cut through the air like a blade. Long dark hair swung behind her, the glint of determination in her eyes. "Malik!" she shouted, her voice stabbing through the moment, pulling them back to reality. Malik turned, his expression shifting from anger to confusion. "Who are you?" Ethan's breath caught. She had to be someone from his past, someone he thought had vanished. "No," he murmured. The woman took a step closer, past the thick crowd of stunned onlookers. "It's time for him to know, Ethan," she said, her voice steady yet laced with pain. Malik glanced between them, lost. "Know what?" "Who you really are," she said, each word deliberate, a knife carving into the mystery surrounding them. "Your mother?" She was desperate. She had to make choices. Ethan felt the ground shift beneath him. A new layer of dread spread across his chest. "Olivia?" he breathed, memories rushing back, a flood of guilt and regret. Her eyes hardened, unyielding. She was proud, but she was afraid too. Afraid of losing you. "Losing me?" Malik's voice trembled, confusion clouding his gaze. "What are you talking about?" And then she revealed it. "I gave you up for adoption the day you were born. But I never stopped watching you. I never stopped caring." The crowd shifted, murmurs rippling through like a wave of disbelief. Ethan's stomach twisted. He had long considered Olivia a ghost, a phantom of his past. Now she stood before him, alive. Malik's eyes widened. "So all this time?" His voice trailed off, disbelief mingling with anger. "Yes," Olivia continued, unflinching. "I couldn't keep you, but you came back. You found your father." Stunned silence enveloped the street. The warmth of autumn vanished, leaving only cold, hard truth hanging between them. Ethan felt a gnawing fear tinged with anger. Why now? Why tell him this here, like this? I couldn't let him go on living a lie. He deserves the truth. Her voice rose, passion igniting the air. You both deserve to know this isn't just about the past. It's about the future. Malik clenched his jaw, hands trembling. You think I can just accept this? I'm nobody to you. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed, jolting everyone. A man crashed into the circle, shouting, "Get down!" The air thickened with panic as people scrambled, screaming, engulfing the scene. Ethan instinctively stepped in front of Malik, heart pounding in his throat. What was happening? The chaos spun around them, adrenaline coursing through his veins. In that moment, secrets felt puny against the looming threat. Then, among the confusion, Ethan caught sight of a figure in the distance, a masked man, bearing down on them, intent and terrifying. Was this connected to them, to Malik's past, or to Olivia? Every uncertain heartbeat screamed danger, and as they ducked behind a nearby car for cover, Ethan knew everything was about to change again. Could the truth hold? Could family ties survive the onslaught? Or would they all shatter under the weight of violence, leaving them to deal with a truth even darker than before? The air thickened, weighted with expectation. Ethan and Malik stood there, eyes locked, as the chaos of the city pulsed around them. But before either could speak, a figure emerged from the crowd, a dark silhouette framed by the afternoon sun. The stranger, shadowy and familiar, stepped forward with an air of authority. "Ethan Mason," the voice thundered, slicing through the tension like a knife. It was Jim, someone from Ethan's past, a man dressed in an impeccable suit, but his sharp features concealed a deep contempt. "You think you can hide from your past? You've been living a lie, haven't you?" At the words, Ethan's stomach dropped, his heart raced, pounding in his ears as murmurs rippled through the onlookers. Faces grimaced, phones pointed, hungry for scandal. Malik shifted, tense and confused. "What do you mean?" Ethan stammered. But Jim didn't hesitate. He approached, eyes glimmering with dark intent. "I know who Malik really is," Jim said, the insinuation rolling off his tongue like poison. "And why you walked away." Ethan's breath hitched. The disgust on Jim's face twisted something in his chest. "That's enough," he snapped, desperate. But Jim only smirked, the kind of smirk that pulled the world out from under your feet. "You left your son because he was never meant to be with you, because he was a mistake, a living reminder of your greatest failure." The crowd leaned in, whispers now a cacophony of judgment. "The truth is, Malik's not just your child. He's your brother." A wave of disbelief struck Ethan like a tidal wave. "What?" The word barely came out. He glanced at Malik, whose eyes flared with confusion and anger, a whirlwind of emotions battling for space. Malik shook his head. "This is a joke, right?" But the hurt in his voice said otherwise. It was raw and exposed. The crowd froze. The noise melted into silence, a collective gasp hanging in the air. Everyone was watching, waiting for the truth to unfurl. Ethan stumbled back, shock dismantling his carefully built facade. "No, it can't be." But deep down, he felt it. The echoes of choices made, the secrets buried under layers of wealth and lies. Jim stepped closer, relishing every second, every twitch of disbelief on Ethan's face. Your mother had an affair, Ethan. You thought you were the only son? She gave birth to twin boys. One was you, and the other, he gestured to Malik, was him. Malik's face became a mask of betrayal and disbelief. You lied to me all this time? Ethan clenched his fists, fighting a whirlwind of emotions. Regret, sorrow, anger. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. But the damage was done. Malik's look shifted, filled with a deep pain that cut like glass. He felt trapped in a web of family secrets and lies. The crowd murmured, voices clashing with disbelief. How could the billionaire and the street kid share blood, yet live such different lives? As Malik turned to flee, to escape the blinding light of truth, a chill swept over the city. Ethan reached out, but his fingertips grazed nothing but air. The divide between them grew, stretching like a chasm, impossible to bridge. But just then, someone screamed from the edge of the crowd. A loud crash echoed through the street, shattering the moment as glass exploded from a nearby store. People screamed. Panic erupted. Ethan turned, instinctively reaching for Malik once more. But the boy was gone, swallowed by the chaos of a world that had betrayed them both. A storm of questions raged inside Ethan. What now? What else lay hidden in their pasts? And as the dust settled, a creeping dread filled his heart. What if the truth was just the beginning of their nightmare? Just as the tension between Ethan and Malik thickened, a figure emerged from the crowd. It was a woman, wearing a faded winter coat and her hair tangled like a stormy sky. The instant she locked eyes with Ethan, a collective gasp rippled through the gathering bystanders. "Ethan!" she shouted, her voice fraying at the edges. "You don't even know!" Malik's expression shifted from anger to confusion as he turned to the stranger. The street noise faded into the background, replaced by the urgent pounding of Ethan's heart. "What do you mean?" Ethan whispered. His mind raced. Was this another ghost from his past? "You have to listen," she continued, stepping closer, urgency written all over her face. "He's not who you think he is." The words hung in the air like a dark cloud. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. Malik, at first bewildered, clenched his fists, eyes darting between Ethan and the woman. "Who am I then?" he shot back, defiance in every syllable. "Malik." Ethan's voice trembled with fear. What does she mean? Tension coiled tighter. The crowd shifted, murmurs buzzing like angry bees. The woman paused, taking a shaky breath before continuing. "You think you lost your son, but he never died. Her voice broke, the words barely escaping her lips. He never left you." Malik stepped back, eyes wide. "What are you talking about?" He looked to Ethan, seeking answers. Ethan's heart raced, thoughts spiraling. Could there be more to the story? "What do you mean? Who are you?" "I'm Kim, his mother," she choked out, pushing forward. "Malik has a brother. Your son is alive, and he's been taken." Silence hit like a brick wall. The city spun around them. It felt surreal, like a bad dream. Ethan felt everything shatter. His mind pulled in opposite directions, each thought like a knife cutting through him. He was staring at the ghost of his past. The son he believed lost. A son he thought he had mourned. While now a brother stood hidden in the shadows of some unseen threat. Malik stepped closer, confusion morphing into disbelief. "You're my mother? Why didn't you come for me?" His voice cracked as pain blurred his anger. Kim shook her head violently. "I fought for you. I still am. They took you. I was powerless." Waved, desperation etched across her face. "And they're still out there. They're watching. I had to warn you before it was too late." Around them, faces grew tense. Phones were out, capturing the moment. The air thickened, pregnant with secrets waiting to spill over. What were these mysteries hiding, tangled amongst the truths and lies? Ethan felt the walls closing in. The fortune, the success, it all felt hollow next to the chaos of this revelation. The happiness he'd built was floating away like ash on the wind. A sudden shout jolted the group. A car screeched to a stop. Black windows tinted like the night rolled down, revealing a menacing figure peering out. "Time's up," he yelled, voice laced with danger. "The game's over." Then a loud crash echoed. Everybody froze. The world outside erupted into chaos. Panic rippled through the crowd, screams piercing the cold air. Ethan grabbed Malik's arm, heart pounding. What did this man mean? Who had really won the race to unveil the truth? With the dark silhouette watching, the stakes just skyrocketed. Hidden lives, stolen pasts, everything was spiraling out of control. As they plunged into the chaos, one truth remained clear. Nothing would ever be the same. As the crowd erupted in chaos, Ethan felt Malik jerk away from him. A surge of panic sent adrenaline pouring through his veins. He had to protect his son, who might now also be his brother, a revelation that spun his world again. The masked figure loomed closer, eyes narrowed, gun locked and loaded. "Get down!" the woman shouted, urgency threading through her voice. But before they could act, a deafening explosion rocked the street, sending cars skidding and people scrambling. The sound was a terrible low rumble that vibrated in their bones. Ethan saw Malik stumble, eyes wide with shock. Time slowed. The world turned gray as dust filled the air, anxiety coiling tighter. Then, as the dust settled, silence fell. A hushed, disbelieving pause. Ethan's heart raced, pounding hard against the thickening air. He reached for Malik, the desperation clawing at him. But instead of his son, he found Kim, her face contorted in fear. "Where's Malik?" he shouted, panic rising. But her eyes widened. "Ethan!" she gasped, pointing. At that moment, the masked figure lurched, pointed the gun straight up to the sky, and with a wild scream, pulled the trigger. A burst of light blinded them. Malik lunged back, slamming into Ethan, body trembling. But he wasn't just scared. He was furious. "What the hell is going on?" he shouted, shaking. The connection between them felt fiery, raw. But as they looked up, the dust cleared to reveal the terrain of their disaster. And their eyes fell upon something unbelievable. The masked man collapsed, twitching on the ground. And then a second figure appeared, leaping from the shadows, another masked assailant, charging toward Malik. "Get out of the way!" Kim screamed, her voice high and frantic. But it was too late. The figure let loose another stream of bullets. Ethan's heart stopped. But instead of Malik, a thunderous roar met the air. It was a police SUV barreling through the crowd, slamming into the attacker, sending them sprawling. People screamed, scattering like leaves in a storm. Then, just as quickly, the officer jumped out. "Stay down, everyone. Get to safety now." Ethan shoved Malik down again, protecting him with every ounce of strength. Their eyes were locked, twin pools of fear and confusion. What was happening? Suddenly, Malik had questions that sliced through the air. "Was that a setup?" he shouted, pointing toward the downed, masked figure who lay still. "Did you know about this? About all of it?" Ethan's throat tightened. "I swear, I didn't know." Then a third figure appeared out of the dust, adorned in clothes that screamed authority. It was Olivia, Malik's supposed mother, looking disheveled but determined. "They won't stop," she cried. "This isn't over." But then the ground dropped from under Ethan. "You knew? You've known this whole time?" And before she could answer, a haunting sound echoed across the street. A child's voice pierced through the chaos. A small boy standing quietly amidst the madness. "Mommy!" The crowd fell silent. Voices caught in disbelief. Faces turned toward the wailing child, born of innocence in a world exploding with pain. Ethan felt his breath hitch. The child ran past the menacing scene, and without hesitation, reached for Kim. "Mommy, I was looking for you. I'm scared." Kim's face paled, the color draining quickly. "No, it can't be," she whispered, backing away, hands trembling. "What do you mean?" Malik yelled, shaking his head in disbelief. "Who is this kid?" But then it hit everyone like ice. The boy's identical features mirrored Malik's, down to the tiny scar on his chin. Malik's breath caught, disbelief wrestling with something deeper. "Is he?" "Yes," Kim stammered, voice shaking. "He's your brother, another twin I thought was gone. They took him." Ethan staggered back, feeling everything crash around him. The truth swung like a heavy pendulum. Another brother? A family tied by chaos, lies, and scars none of them chose. The crowd held its breath, shock rippling like a wave. What now? All around them, the city began to close in, buzzing with energy. But there was weight, more than just the fear of violence. It was tangled with secrets that cut to the bone. "Are we even safe?" Malik whispered, staring at Ethan, searching for answers in the depths of uncertainty. In that moment, nothing made sense. The world swirled around them, a dizzying dance of fate that refused to release its grip. And from somewhere deep inside, one question emerged. Who had the control now? As night fell, the shadows loomed ever closer, whispering secrets waiting to be uncovered. The tension hung heavy in the air, a fragile thread poised to snap. Ethan felt caught between worlds, his old life crumbling, while new revelations tore at the fabric of his identity. He looked at Malik, who stood a heartbeat away from uncertainty, both brother and son in the ruins of their past. And then it happened. A sudden roar of engines shattered the moment, breaking through the din of the crowd. A convoy of black SUVs screeched to a halt, doors flinging open. Uniformed officers spilled out, weapons drawn, eyes scanning the chaos. The world spun again. Fear twisted tight inside Ethan's chest. "What's happening?" Malik shouted, casting desperate glances between the stranger who claimed to be his mother and the child beside her. Before anyone could respond, shouts erupted. "Get back! Move now!" The crowd surged forward, people tumbling over one another, a mass of panic threatening to swallow them whole. Ethan grabbed Malik's arm, yanking him towards safety. But just as they turned, a cold voice cut through the air, crisp and sharp, like a knife. "Stop right there!" Everyone froze. Ethan's stomach dropped. The voice belonged to a man wearing a badge, a face twisted in rage, eyes burning with intensity. "Ethan Mason, we need to talk." Panic surged in Ethan. "What do you want?" he barked back, defensive. The officer stepped closer, the tension crackling like static. "Your brother!" Malik's face blanched, confusion now morphing into anger. "What do you know about my brother?" "Who even are you?" But the officer was laser-focused. "We're not safe here. You need to come with us." He nodded toward the receding figures of the other masked assailants, who were now forming a perimeter. Steely determination etched on their faces. Ethan opened his mouth to protest, but the words sputtered. "We can't just leave. We need answers." "Trust me," the officer said, urgency thickening his voice. "If you want to know the truth, you have to come now." Before Ethan could make a decision, the air exploded. An explosion rumbled behind them. Glass shattered. People screamed. The mysterious, masked figure flailed, collapsing against the concrete like a rag doll. No, this scream tore through Malik, raw and visceral. "Mom!" Kim lunged for her son, but the officer positioned himself between them. "Get down!" he yelled, pulling Malik close as another round of gunfire rang out, ricocheting off the pavement. Ethan's breath fell away. The chaos was relentless, but just as he prepared to shield Malik, a voice pierced through the calamity. "Enough! This ends now!" From the shadows emerged an imposing figure, tall, commanding, and dripping with authority. The crowd gasped. Malik's eyes widened in shock. "Oliver?" Malik breathed, confusion and a flicker of recognition washing over him. Ethan's heart skipped. The name hung heavy in the air. Oliver? How could he be here? Images of betrayal and secret slammed into him with brutal force. He remembered Oliver as a man driven by ambition, but he didn't know he was connected to this. "What do you want?" Ethan spat, anger igniting within him. Oliver smiled, a sly grin that felt like a predator playing with its prey. "You really don't know, do you?" Then the unimaginable happened. In one swift movement, Oliver produced a small device, pointing it squarely at Malik. The crowd gasped, collective fear washing across their faces. "Stay back," Ethan ordered, stepping forward, heart racing. "What do you think you're doing?" Oliver smirked, eyes glinting with malice. "I'm just unlocking the truth. Malik, you deserve to know who you are." Suddenly, the device beeped, a blinding flash engulfing the area. Light pulsed violently, illuminating every corner, and Ethan felt a shudder run through him. Then came a voice, whispering from the depths of their minds, swirling through the air like a ghost. "You were never just a boy. Orisha, you're the key to everything." Ethan staggered back, heart pounding. "What does that mean?" But before Oliver could reply, the air convulsed, a crackling sound erupting as shadows shifted and morphed. "Your mother, Ethan," he continued, voice low and taunting. "She hid the truth so well, but you're about to find out everything." And then everything changed. The world spun on its axis, Malik's features shifted, and for a moment, Everything flickered like a television screen dripping with static. As the darkness receded, the truth hung heavy, looming over them like storm clouds. "You all need to know your past," Oliver said, his voice echoing as reality warped around them. "Because what I've done will tear your lives apart." At that moment, a shroud of uncertainty engulfed the gathering. Questions raced through every mind. What had Oliver done? What other secrets lay hidden beneath the surface of their twisted realities? As the breath seized in their chests, they stood on the brink of revelation. None would emerge unscathed from the truth yet to unfold. And as the world outside teetered on the edge of chaos, they knew one thing. Everything they thought they knew was about to upend, dragging them further into darkness. Ethan's heart raced as the chaos unfolded before him. The realization of the truth was like a heavy weight pressing down hard on his chest. With each second, the complexities of their lives twisted further in directions he never expected. Malik stood beside him, fight or flight cycling through his expressions, flashes of anger and confusion sliding across his face. "Get down!" shouted the officer, shoving Malik to the ground. Ethan's instinct kicked in. He dropped beside them, shielding Malik with his body. Above them, voices roared in panic, echoing against the walls of the city. All around, confusion unfurled like a wave of chaos, people scrambling to escape unseen threats. "Stay together!" the officer yelled, his authoritative voice cutting through the noise. He scanned the perimeter as shadows shifted, tension thick in the air. "Oliver!" Ethan shouted, challenging the man standing with sinister calm. "What have you done?" Oliver's grin widened, yet it felt hollow, drenched in deceit. "What I had to do. You were always too blind to see. But now, it's time for the truth, Ethan." "Stop!" Kim's voice broke through, desperation quaking in her tone. "You're endangering everyone. This is not how it's supposed to go. Malik, we need to run." Malik, fear pulsing through him, looked between the figures of his father and mother. "This is madness. Why did you keep this from me?" His voice wavered. The roar of more sirens filled the air, cutting deeper into the tension swirling amongst them. The officer shot a glance toward Malik. "We'll explain everything later. Right now, we need to get moving." Ethan felt Malik's anger ignite, turning to face the man who also claimed their bond. "You don't understand. He's my—" "Yes," Oliver cut him off, his voice cold. "And he's the last piece of the puzzle you've been running from. Without him, you'll never know the full truth." Suddenly, a deafening crash echoed. A nearby building, its windows shattering under the weight of the blast. Ethan shielded Malik instinctively, their bodies pressed close. As the smoke swirled thick, their fates hung in the balance. "Now!" the officer thundered, launching forward. "We move out!" In that moment, everything crystallized. The truth, so painfully woven into their lives, rained down like ashes. The father and mother they once knew, their past selves, all conflicted by lies and hidden agendas. "Come on! This way!" commanded the officer, urgency driving every syllable. Ethan grabbed Malik's hand, heart pounding in unison with his son's fear. "We'll get through this. I promise." With adrenaline coursing through them, they cut through the chaos, the growing crowd melting behind. Kim followed closely, determination etched on her face, her child still held tight against her. The darkness spread, smoke lingering and blinding them. But despite that, hope flickered within. In the midst of turmoil, they found each other. They were fighting for more than bloodlines. They had found their connection, buried beneath layers of pain. But even as they moved, doubt nagged at the edges of their renewed bond. What unknown dangers awaited? What unseen threats lurked in their They were family, even forged in secrets and survival. There was strength in that bond. But as they vanished into the fading light, a chilling question loomed. What shadows awaited them in a world filled with unknowns and dark truths? Before they could catch a breath, a voice echoed behind them, familiar yet filled with foreboding. You haven't seen the last of us. And that was how it ended. But the story was just beginning. If you loved this gripping finale, you have to subscribe now. Don't wait even a second longer. Smash that like button now. It feeds the algorithm and helps us bring you more gripping stories. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about the unexpected twists you just witnessed. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who absolutely need to see this ending. This is the moment to show your support.